Okay, looks like we're live. So we will go ahead and get started here. And it certainly looks funny to see some of my stuff in the background anyway, especially the gnome. That was a funny gift that I received from one of my sisters a while ago. Anyway, um, yeah, I'll just get started and I'll. I already have 2 viewers. Awesome. Anyway, I do want to talk about. Yeah, hi. Yeah, it's amazing to have 2 viewers just like that. Anyway, I want to talk about some of the progress that I and some of the team have been making with the game. TimeSplitters Rewind. Anyway, um, anyway, I've been trying to make some finishing touches on Compound, and I've also been working on. I've been working on a couple other things to go alongside it anyway. And I'm trying to see if I can find a way to share my screen. I don't know if I can from here, unfortunately. So I might just the stream might be shorter than anticipated, but I will try to respond to comments here. And hey there, TMC. It's good to see you back again. And for me, I haven't been, I haven't been on YouTube. Well, I haven't been broadcasting or sharing anything over YouTube in a while. I still try to do it over Twitch, but I'm trying to, if I can find a way to make it efficient to share over OBS on, for YouTube, then I'll do what I can to broadcast over here a lot more often. I pretty much, I I have an audience on Twitch, and I also have one on YouTube, and it's just, I do want to do, some live stuff while I'm working, because on my other screen here, I'm doing some work, but I don't think that I can share it at the moment. But anyway, so for in the meantime, I'll just kind of work on that and just kind of try to answer any questions that you guys might have. Um, there's going to be some stuff that I probably can't say per. Like there might be some answers that I can't give right now, either because I'm not in the role to really answer it properly, but I can at the very least, discuss some stuff on what is going on. Um, yeah, like, eh, can I don't know if I can say one of the levels that we're working on, but I know that it's a fan favorite, that's for sure. And, I've already talked about how I've been working on Compound. Sean had basically wanted to, um, essentially do it over again. And I went ahead with the idea and started working on that, making sure that it. Um, let's see here. Yeah, I'll give have to give those guys a bit of a hand anyway, in that one level in particular. And yeah, I'll also bring up. Yeah, well, yeah, we'll get that all figured out. But yeah, anyway, there's one level in particular that is a fan favorite that is definitely receiving a lot more attention than it has, some for a little while anyway. And yeah, I'm definitely liking the work that Ian is putting into it, and looking forward to seeing what he does for the material setup for some of this stuff. Anyway, can I? Yeah, I don't know if I really want to get into it too much at the moment. Can I? Well, Sean had already announced this, so why not? Anyway, they're working on Training Ground. I'll just put it out there. Yeah, they've been yeah, Ant's been really putting a lot of work into it, and I think that he's starting to get into the uh, there we go. Yeah, he's really starting to get into that whole side of things. So, yeah, I'll probably be helping out with a couple of things with that after I'm done with Compound. There were a few meshes that I had assigned to another one of the team members, and well, they had to step away for a while. They are finally back. It's like I'm already working on this, so go ahead and start helping out with Training Ground and so on. So that's I've got Compound and a few other things on my plate, and they've got Training Ground, and I think there is another level that I know that I don't want to talk about right now. That one, it's probably too early to really be talking about, but yeah, if you guys haven't seen anything over the Discord or some of the other media, I would certainly expect to see something on those very soon. Anyway, I mean, next month probably. You'll definitely see something on Compound pretty soon. So in the meantime, while I'm still doing work here. Oh, I should also mention that I unfortunately had a mouse of mine die, and that was pretty unfortunate. For last week I noticed that the tracking on it was almost, I mean, it was drastically reduced. Like I had to up the sensitivity, and then one day there was just nothing. It didn't want to work whatsoever. So it's like, rip, goodbye. I guess I better go. I'll get one of my, this thing, one of the Microsoft mice. It's I obviously don't have to use that now, but it's a really good backup mouse, all things considered, and for the meantime, I was using it for a couple days, and one evening I went and looked and found a new mouse. It was a Corsair one. Uh, this one, in fact, it's a Harpoon. So that set me back by about $30. So if you guys would be, no, I don't exactly like to, um, you know, I should just say that if you guys would be more, willing to be, pitch in, I don't know, $1 or so to kind of help, with the cost of that, then that would be excellent. I would very much appreciate it. And I would definitely, read out any names on, right, in very near future, of course. I definitely want to do whatever I can to ensure that you guys get something back for helping me out. I I can I paid I obviously paid for it, so this is any sort of donation would be great. That's all. So anyway, let's one more thing I wanted to note. I don't know. We've gotten quite a few new people on board with the team, so I'm pretty happy with that. And we're looks like their discussion's pretty busy, and with the characters and the animation. So I'm pretty hoping that if they haven't posted anything recently publicly, then we'll be doing that pretty soon. I think I have all the bases covered for now with that. I do want to talk about one more thing. I'm definitely itching to get this whole thing set up for being able to share my screen anyway, like I do with my Twitch streams. So, bear with me here. I may go offline after I talk about the next subject that I posted in the the title and the description. So Star Wars. uh, it's been kind of eating me up for a while. That we have this, and for me, I started watching Star Wars probably around 1995. And I had gotten the VHS tapes of those, of the original trilogy, not of the special editions or anything of that. So whenever someone says Han shot first, my first response is Han's the only one that shot Greedo. Like, I I don't get it, you know. And honestly, it took me a while to. I did watch the special edition of A New Hope anyway, of course, and that scene never really stood out to me because like the only things that really stood out to me were like the extra shots that were put in as Luke and Obi-Wan and 3PO or 2 or they're coming into Mos Eisley on the land speeder and uh like that. So just those little details, like, oh yeah, that's kind of neat, kind of just to see, just how show the scale of Mos Eisley anyway. I mean, it's I can kind of understand the reason why George Lucas would like to put those in later on, as well as well, all things considered, given that um, for the time they had to build their own microprocessors for any of the computer generated imagery. I mean, they had to build the microprocessors. There was no microprocessor that you can just buy from a computer store or anything like that at the time. So the Industrial Light and Magic just did everything right from there. Okay, yeah, go for it. How are death animations going to work? Are they going to be ragdolls or each animation there had been? Hmm. It's good. Yeah, that's definitely a good question. Um, ah, well, I'm not part of the character team, so I can't exactly say. I could see if I can find anything in this animation chat that I might be able to help with. Only body. Um, yeah, this is something that I'll probably want to ask the team on how it's going to work. From what I see immediately, is that talking about they were talking about how animations have to be done, and there was one guy in particular that just wanted to talk arms only, and yeah, the way that the CryEngine handles animations is full body only. You can't just do arms. You have to do the full thing for an animation. Uh, so that I can at the very least discuss for out of the moment, but I'll probably ask them and try to get an answer to you by the next time. We see. Yeah, by the next time, I'll definitely have that question answered. Like, it's unfortunately I'm not a part of the character team or the animation team. I'm just yeah, part of the level design / environment artist team. So yeah, sorry I can't exactly answer that right now, but I'll try to get an answer by the next time that I'm on, which should be, I would probably say, probably Saturday. If I'm not on YouTube, then I'm definitely on Twitch. So look out for twitch.tv/ whereas Ivan is. Jeez, why did I pronounce it that way? I guess it's just the way that other people have pronounced it for so long. Anyway, whereas Ebonia's. Anyway, um, next. Oh yeah, so I guess anyway that I guess what I wanted to talk about was that there's been this idea that's been thrown out by a lot of people talking about what they want to do next for Star Wars movies. There was an Obi-Wan standalone movie, there was a Boba Fett standalone movie, and there was there's a third one. Not to mention that Rian Johnson uh, wants to do that trilogy still. And who knows what that could possibly be. But yeah, anyway, we want to. Yeah, I just want to bring up that I've read through a lot of the expanded universe stuff, so this is one of the books. This was actually published in 2012, so I think that Disney might have no, it doesn't have the Disney brand on it. So there are some that do. Before they decided that most of this stuff was not canon anymore, which I completely disagree with. Um, so anyway, yeah, I want to just bring this book to attention that they should definitely consider this as a pretty good. So they could certainly try to adapt this into a film. I can. The thing with Hollywood though is that they don't like to. They have a really tough time keeping to books, particularly for the screenwriters. They kind of like to do their own thing to ensure that probably can't do royalties, but that's a whole other matter. For the meantime, just kind of give a bit of synopsis. Uh, the book starts where Obi-Wan is trying to find the OMRs. Oh yeah, Boba Fett. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, all things considered, um, yeah. Well, I'll probably get to that. Yeah. The book starts with Obi-Wan trying to find the Lars homestead. He goes into Anchorhead, and there's like a brawl fight that he breaks up. And so he, no lightsabers or anything like that. Yeah, most of the book is without any sort of lightsaber, and there's maybe one time where he might actually. Um, well, there's a couple times where he uses the Force to help him out with some stuff, but mainly it's about him trying to be very conspicuous, yet just due to where after he drops Luke off and he after talking with uh, Luke's uncle, that he should try to find his own place. So he's trying to get set up, trying to find his own, try to figure out what next. What am I supposed to do now? There's a lot of that. There's a bit of that sort of discovery. He's trying to, he tries to commune with Qui-Gon, and he gets involved with this little settlement that's, it's like maybe a township anyway, and they, with Tusken Raider activity nearby, it's this there's this one, I don't know, can you call him a rancher? Yeah, anyway, he's like a bigger name than like Owen Mars, for his moisture evaporator, I guess moisture farmer. So he's a moisture farmer, and then he sets up this thing called Settler's Call. It's like a militia of sorts, not quite as organized as the ones in Anchorhead, from what the book claims. But anyway, yeah, they, this, group of, this local militia tries to, protect the farmers around them anyway from the Tuscan Raiders. And as time goes on, it seems like, oh, wow, this these Tuscans seem to, they managed to attack these farmers that aren't, well, yeah, they haven't joined the settlers' call. So funny enough, soon, not too soon after, they end up getting attacked, and oh, well, I guess we should probably join. So this whole, investigation by Obi-Wan, he starts to figure out, oh, maybe there's, maybe they're trying to start a racket anyway. It also delves into where, you have this band of Tuscan Raiders. Obi-Wan actually confronts them. There's actual discussion between the two, and I was like, I'm not sure how that would work out, but you have this Tuscan Raider that manages, that knows how to speak basic anyway somehow. So I'm not sure how that would work. Maybe, maybe if anything, the screenwriter just avoids that whole confrontation, just because it might be just a little too convenient. Um, but overall, I like the story, and Obi-Wan gets to fight a great dragon. Like, that's pretty cool. And one of the first, one of the things about the Settlers' Call is that they managed to do, they managed to set up the whole thing of the Great Dragon Call, with Obi-Wan. Your introduction to Obi-Wan is where he uses the call, although you can't exactly hear it in the original film, but yeah. It's the thing that drives the Tusken Raiders off is the Great Dragon Call, and that's set up from the Settler's Call using that, and I guess like, oh yeah, Obi-Wan, figures it out from them, so that's what you want to do to drive them off, to help drive them off. So the leader of the Tusken Raiders, of this band of the Raiders, is pretty smart against that, but a lot of the lesser experienced Tuscans aren't quite as, they're, going right off impulse to run, as soon as he hears the call anyway. Um, Other than that, yeah, some interesting characters around, all around in the book, I would say. Even the who becomes the antagonist was pretty interesting. Yeah, the Tuscan Raider was actually pretty interesting. Their point of view was pretty, uh, it's, their point of view is compelling. So obviously, it's like, well, the antagonist is the antagonist for a reason. But yeah, and it was, the whole book was kind of written in a type of Western, as a Western setting. So yeah, I think that, if anything, if they do a film adaptation, they should definitely follow this book. It's just called Star Wars Kenobi, and yeah, for what Kenobi, a Star Wars story. If they go along with, continue with it. Oh yeah, they were doing, so yeah, the Boba Fett and a Lando movie. That's what they had in mind. We'll see how that goes. I mean, there was some news that due to Solo not doing well, that they wouldn't continue with these adaptations. But well, Rogue One was okay. I actually have Rogue One. Um, yeah, I thought the Rogue One was okay. Solo is okay, but though I think that one of the scenes was a little, didn't really need to do it. Um, I can kind of understand why, but they didn't. That probably wasn't what they wanted to go with. But yeah, for Boba Fett, I would probably say that you want to actually have him. Hmm, That's a tough call. Uh, yeah, I'm not very good at. uh, uh, mm, I. Mm, uh, yeah, it's a tough call. I'm trying to stay. Um, I don't want to get into details on either movie, but I would probably say that I think that Rogue One is probably a little better than Solo, but uh, yeah, I don't know. There's some interesting parts to Solo still. Um, yeah, if anything, I would. It's like I just wish that they had done, like overall, I just wish that they had done the Obi-Wan movie first because you already have Ewan McGregor that, he's definitely old enough to do the role now for Obi-Wan and and I guess as an infant Luke or so on. And yeah, I think that Boba Fett if they do a movie for that, they need to make sure that they do it around the Mandalorians. Like the movie should mainly be set in the Mandalorian system, the Mandalorian system. That's I mean, if it's not, then I'm not going to see it. Like, if you've heard of there's a Jango Fett book where they talk about Jango Fett being uh, pretty much becoming the leader of the Mandalorian people, and because I mean, the Mandalorians are it's basically a nation of many different tribes, and um, I thought that's what really fascinates me is that you have all these different clans that uh, compete against have rivalries with one another. And they're fiercely independent. Though in the past, of course, during the old war, the old republic, or before the old republic, I think, was where you had this whole conflict between them and the Jedi, and the Jedi prevailed. And since that point, Mandalore just tried to become kind of aloof anyway, and they uh, observe the Republic after they lost that whole war anyway. But um, yeah, it's. I thought that for quite some time, I didn't quite get why people really liked Boba Fett. I mean, like an Empire, of course, you see that. Oh, it's pretty cool that he figured out how to, that he managed to track down Han and Leia and so on. But yeah, it's just how he went, and Return of the Jedi was pretty. I mean, it was insulting to the guy, honestly, and in part, that's there's just some aspects of Return of the Jedi that are just inferior to the first two movies. Of course, still really enjoyable, and I really like the arc to the movie between Luke and Anakin anyway. That's what really makes the movie there. There's just some things that, well, Gary Kurtz left, and you had well you have the whole thing with George Lucas and the guilds just not working. Like, them, they were really fierce against George. I mean, I would be furious if I were George at that point in time. Like, I wouldn't want to have anything to do with him. Um, and yeah, like after he left, I think what was it, the Directors Guild? He couldn't use Steven Spielberg or Ron Howard or anything like that. And and even after Return, when he was trying to do the prequels, he still couldn't. use Steven or Ron Howard. That was pretty unfortunate. Can you imagine one of those guys being in charge of the prequels? The prequels would have been far better edited. That's I would say that's probably the main issue. It's just George is, George can have some good direction, but compared to Steven Spielberg, I mean, or Ron Howard, they're really good. Like I would want to, he wanted them to help, but they didn't, unfortunately. So the prequels are okay, but that's the way it goes. Um, so I guess with that, oh yeah, and Lando. How would they do a Lando movie? That would be, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure how they could do that. Probably, it'd probably be a sequel after, the solo movie anyway. And I'm sure that, maybe they can introduce Talon Card. If they can introduce Talon Card in the Lando movie, that would be great. I mean, I would definitely go see that. There's no two ways. Well, with that, I guess I've got a caveat. You got to make sure that Talon Card is actually Talon Card, and I'm not. I don't know. We'll have to see. Like if they nail the actual character, like if they understand the characterization of Talon Card, you'd really, definitely read through Heirs to the Empire, um, Dark Force Rising, and The Last Command to really understand and to get a good grasp on Talon Card. There's a couple other books too, but yeah, you read those and you should have a pretty good understanding of his character anyway. But yeah, he's a very fascinating character. He's one of the reasons why people like the Thrawn trilogy so much. I mean, Thrawn is the top reason why uh, the Thrawn trilogy works so well. He's a man that flat out outsmarts the New Republic fleet. Flat out. The New Republic got away lucky a couple times. Um, and there's some, and yeah, the ending but it was art. Anyway, but leave it at that. So yeah, that's tough questions for that whole thing. You know, hmm, yeah, maybe with Lando you can get an actual heist movie because I know that Rogue One was initially supposed to be a heist movie, and that's yeah. Like in all honesty, I think that oh man, Kyle Katarn is the guy who actually stole the Death Star plan still, but it's Rogue One is still enjoyable. Um, oh well. Hopefully we hopefully we get something pretty good anyway out of it. Um, yeah, we'll just have to see where the whole franchise goes because I don't know. I have always enjoyed Star Wars, and I mean, a Jar Jar Binks movie. I mean, how would that work? You would have, well, I mean, if anything, they could explore the whole Darth Jar Jar thing, and how he's secretly I mean, technically, he could be the puppet master of Palpatine, right? Can you imagine that? I mean, he manages to get into a senatorial position. How? I mean, manages to find his way in front of Jedi Master, well, Jedi Knight anyway at that time, and manages to get dragged along through this whole story of Episode One. But then in Episode Two, he becomes a personal aide of Senator Amidala, and she takes a leave of absence, and he's put in charge. Are you sure you really want to do this movie? I mean, like I said, there's some stuff with the prequels that doesn't quite work. But there's you can say that the fans' negative reaction kind of put him into that spot where, uh, you know, he was supposed to. Rumor has it that he was supposed to be a mercenary, but I mean, if that whole other fan theory of him being a Dark Lord of, yeah, I and it's perfect. There's the whole thing of drunken kung fu. It's kind of like taking that whole um, whole side of things. Like you look like a clumsy oaf, but it's just to give an illusion of what's going on, and you know, yeah, just kind of just a false illusion, and just to manipulate people, and that's as legitimate as how Palpatine had risen to power anyway, had risen to emperor anyway. It's certainly an interesting idea. Uh, I don't, I can't say how legitimate it is, but it's an interesting fan theory. Uh, it's like, oh man, I don't know if I. It would definitely be. Uh, I'll just update that later. All right. Well, I think that's about all I wanted to talk about. If I could actually share my screen, I would be. Yeah, I would definitely try to. Um, let's see, can I? Service. Yeah, there's. YouTube there. Oh, I am. Um, can I? Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, there's with OBS, there's not a specific profile. So if I wanted to share, if I wanted to do another broadcast right now, I would have to do a stream, or sorry, I would have to find the stream key. Obviously, I'm not going to share it with you guys right now. Sorry. Um, but I would also want to make sure that I can get my stream key back on Twitch. It's just a little inconvenience, and I would have to kind of keep switching things through. So I'll have to find a way to remedy that. But in the meantime, I'll figure something out in that regard. Yeah. Hope to hope to get that resolved by Saturday, I would say. In the meantime, I've got some more compound stuff to be working on. I'm going to, um, yeah, I don't know. Well, I might, yeah, we'll see how it goes. It's getting kind of late here, so I probably won't, stream for too terribly long. Um, so, yeah, and I guess I'll just call it good for now, unless you guys have any other questions. I can try to answer them. I've got, all I can say is that if you find this around, I would recommend reading it. Um, either find it at a library or probably a used bookstore at this point. I doubt that Disney would want to publish it themselves. I mean, I would like to see it as a film adaptation, and I'll also see if I can discuss it with some other people too, because I know that there are some Star Wars YouTube channels out there, and I don't know if I've heard anyone actually discuss this book. So, um, well, maybe I'll try to find a way to um, get to. Maybe I'll try to talk with someone about that um, at another point. I don't know. For me, I definitely want to make sure that my main focus is on on here. It's like I have, I'm doing my 3D. modeling on my left monitor pretty much at all times, unless I have like something in the background. Like watching a video for wow, for either entertainment or for informational purposes anyway. So yeah, there we go. For I guess if anything else, I'll probably I'll try to get things all situated. I might try to do another if I'll probably you know what, I feel like doing another stream tomorrow, but we'll see. I mean, I want to get this work done here on Compound, but I guess in the meantime I can work on another level. It's like, yeah, I'm definitely, you know, uh, yeah, I've got some other stuff. Oh, yeah, in-game perks like gun skins and such. No, I can't say that. I can't say. Well, it's not like. Well, see, like a gold skin or a chrome skin. That chrome skin could be kind of interesting. So I'm sure that's a shame. We'd have to figure out a cheap way to do that. Cheap way for resources, because it's just reflections. Nah, reflections should be okay because I've done you know full something that is basically gloss anyway. But that probably shouldn't be too much of an issue. But anyway, yeah, I would. I mean, I'd have to see how we could possibly set that system up. I definitely doubt it for starters. So yeah, I don't think we would monetize that at all. I highly doubt that. I mean, we're trying to just get the game out there. We just we want something out there. I want something on my portfolio, and so does everyone else. Um, Monetization has low priority. It's like all I ask is like if you guys are kind, because um, you know, donate to my PayPal. Sean had a Patreon. I might do a Patreon at some point, but it's like if anything, I would it's very optional. It's only for um, and I would do everything that I can to um, reward you guys back for donating. I mean, it's very, very. I mean, it's I couldn't say thanks enough to anyone that has in the past, and I've definitely got to read through anyone that has, and I gotta give them as much thanks as I possibly can, because yeah, I know enough that I have a lot of people in my life that I can't say that I can say that I have not thanked enough. Like I try to, and I'm sure that that's still not enough anyway. So I'll do, I want to do as much as I can. I definitely got to make sure that um, people know how much I appreciate them helping me through things anyway. And I tried to make sure that I keep my focus on right over here. There we go. Try to get through things. Compound is getting really close to being finally done anyway. I mean, like, just there's just some things that Sean liked, but there's some stuff that he didn't like, and he just wanted to do a lot of that over. So I just did all of the structural stuff over, and I also have done some of the props, some additional props and so on, just really make sure that it got the attention it deserved, and definitely glad to be working on it. I you know I certainly I mean, that's one of the things. I still like Streets more than Compound, but I do enjoy the Compound level, and I appreciate it a little bit more, I'd say, than I had in the past. I should say. I mean, not that I didn't, but man, like, oh yeah, I can definitely understand what they were trying to do here. So anyway, I with that, we're 45 minutes, so I will cut it for here for now. And yeah, expect me to get this whole thing with OBS all figured out, and I'll try to live stream on YouTube at least once a week, and I'll probably do. I'll try to do. Yeah, I'll probably try to do